Hey there, y'all. I'm Juliette Miranda, and welcome to Bourbon Soaked Live, where for the next hour-ish, we're going to be hanging out, and tonight our chat conversation is going to be about urban legends. Now, let me make some introductions here. I got my handsome guy behind the camera over there, David, the producer.
Handsome. Can I put that on my business card?
Sure. I'll even give you a reference.
That's awful nice of you.
So he's going to be manning the chat for me and keeping all you rascals in line and, keeping things moving along a little bit in case I go off topic. So let's see who we've got hanging out with us so far. I know I saw Green Bay was the first one in the chat, so cheers to you, Green Bay. You get the, first in line award.
First Glug Award.
First Glug Award. Ginger and Will are here, which is fantastic. I was hoping I'd see you guys. And of course, we've got Container Man, as always, one of my favorite rascals.
And we have Wes.
And Wes is here also. Yeah, so we are doing good tonight, y'all. And I don't know what you guys are drinking, but me, I'm drinking bourbon. So I need some. Hang on.
You never see her do that.
Oh, cheers. So in case y'all care, and some of you may, tonight I am drinking Russell's Reserve Private Barrel Selection. And all I can say is just wow. Now this is a small batch release and it's done specifically for Binny's Beverage Depot stores. And it comes from a very specific place in the Russell's warehouse. It comes from Warehouse F, Floor 5. And what they do with these private releases is do them in small batches to different stores around the country. And this is the first time I've had it. Holy balls, y'all. It's amazing. It's 110 proof. And I don't think David, the producer, agrees with me, but I feel like this has a little bit of a cherry cola flavor.
I definitely taste fruit. I don't know if I taste cherry cola, but this is making me see dead relatives. That's all I know.
Well, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, y'all.
There's the tie-in.
Yes, exactly. Well done, David, the producer. So tonight we're talking urban legends and folklore and all of that, crazy local history that, gets all spooky during the Halloween season. Did I see that Ginger is drinking a whiskey sour? Oh, yeah, that photo that you shared, Ginger, looked amazing. I wouldn't mind having one of those myself right now. I love a good whiskey sour.
I'm a producer, not a bartender.
You can be both.
We'll see about
You
that.
can multitask. I've seen it happen. I see that Jenny just joined us. So, hey, Jenny, thanks for being here tonight. It's always good to see you.
The awesome mod, Jenny Marsath.
Absolutely. Our queen bee of the chat. I love it. So I thought I would open up tonight with one of my favorite local legends, actually. It's a lovely lady called Resurrection Mary.
That's right. I remember this one.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite Chicago stories, and maybe it's because I grew up near the ballroom where she was supposedly, seen, I guess. But she's traditionally kind of a woman in white sort of character. And she will be seen dancing, at proms or at weddings. And she'll talk some guy into driving her home. And she'll get in the car with the guy, and they'll start on down Archer Avenue. And she won't be saying very much, and he'll be trying to get her to talk, and she's a little, quiet and a little pale and a little sickly looking. And, they start getting deeper into the woods. And this is the south side, so it's very wooded and kind of a little remote in certain areas.
Rural-ish.
Rural-ish, yeah, lots of forest preserves. And they will come upon Resurrection Cemetery, at which point she will just vanish from the car.
Completely disappear. That's the urban legend.
Yeah, well, I love this story because I love the idea of a hitchhiking ghost. I think it's just so creative. Most of the time they're limited to this one place, where they've got to sit there and, haunt a closet or an attic or whatever. But she gets around, right? She gets to hang out in cars and go home with guys.
I wonder if she's been in a few Ubers and Lyfts.
That's actually a really interesting question. I wonder, I would love to talk to some Uber drivers out there and see if they've ever picked her up.
Green Bay says it sounds like Large Marge.
It is. It's very close to Large Marge. And yes, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is one of my favorite movies. And I see Steph Opal has joined us. It's great to see you here. I'm glad you can make it. We're talking folklore tonight and urban legends. So if you've got any crazy stories from out there in New Orleans, and I'm sure you do, definitely share it in the chat so we can talk about it.
Wes has one. His urban legend is Big Liz. So you got to tell us a story in the chat there with Big Liz. I'm not familiar with Big Liz.
No, I'm afraid to ask. Is that a hitchhiking ghost or is it something more ominous? I see Chris Malloy is here. Hello. It's great to see you. Will, he's asking if Resurrection Mary gets dropped off near a cemetery. Yes, that's what happens. She doesn't really get dropped off. The idea is that she wants the guy to take her home. And by the time he crosses the path of the cemetery, she just kind of
vanishes out of the car.
Vanishes.
That's right. And Resurrection Cemetery near Halloween have tons of people that just go out there and dress up in women that dress up in white.
Yeah.
And hitchhike.
It is the one time that Chicago feels like New Orleans to me. Because you get all of these ghost huntery type people who, like you said, will dress up as the woman in white and will, kind of play out the part. And then if you go on into the cemetery, which I've done, not on Halloween, but I've been in there, and it's truly the creepiest cemetery. I mean, it's just dark. You've got the crumbling tombstones, the fallen leaves off the trees. It's definitely a very, very creepy place.
Well, and we have one from Chris. It says, I'm from Bensonhurst. We only have the real mafia.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that.
That includes the mafia in Chicago.
Well, I was looking up Bachelor's Cemetery.
Bachelor's Grove.
Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, which was kind of mafia run. I know they had their own little holes dug in the back over there for quite some time, which is convenient, right? I mean, everybody needs to have a hole dug somewhere.
They only have 200 gravestones there at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, and I think they're all the people that are buried there are from the 1800s, I think, to the early 1900s. I could be wrong in the 1900 part. I think most of them are 1800s.
Okay, I thought it went longer. I thought it went into the 50s.
Oh, did it?
I think so.
Oh, that's where the mafia
buried
there.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel free to tell the mafia part.
No, I just think it's awesome that, our local mob has holes pre-dug in a cemetery. I mean, that seems awfully, convenient for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Wes is saying that a slave woman walked into Greenbrier Swamp to get her master's treasure, then he chops her head off. Wow. Yeah, that's kind of, isn't that sort of the traditional legend with, what is it? A Bluebeard. He brought in a nice, lovely young wife and said, I love you, sweetheart. You're the greatest lady ever. Go anywhere you want in my castle home except this one room. And, she's like, I love you too. No problem. I won't go in there. But curiosity just keeps getting the better and better of her. And she's, trying to peer in the keyhole and she's peering under the door and everything. And, finally one day she kind of picks the lock open. And when she does, it opens up into this giant room where all of his previous wives' heads are perched up on the wall for everybody to admire. And he looks at her and he goes, oh, and I loved you the best too. And then he chops her head off. It's a great story.
Did he call it the ex-wives room?
No. He
He
did
should
not.
have.
Oh, hey, Ginger is talking about Bloody Mary, and I wanted to bring that up. Thank you for mentioning it. As she says, tried Bloody Mary in the mirror when she was young, never worked. Though when I was young, I stared into the mirror for a while, and my face changed into a scary me. I have never forgotten that. So here's some interesting facts, actually, about Bloody Mary. It originally started as a marriage game. And what girls would do, it was a whole ritual. So they had to walk up their stairs backwards, holding a mirror and a candle. And then when they got to the top of the stairs, they'd look in the mirror and they were supposed to see the face of their husband, or they'd see the Grim Reaper. And if that was the case, then they'd, die before they got married. So that's kind of a creepy way to play a, dating game.
Well, I think it's strange that she would walk up the stairs backwards. No wonder it's Bloody Mary. You know how many women fell down the stairs playing that stupid game?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They all tumbled down the stairs to their death. And yeah, I used to play that at slumber parties all the time. We'd walk into the bathroom and just stare and go, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. I don't know, was it 3 times, 5 times? It was different in every legend.
That's right. And Chris asked what you're drinking.
Ah, Chris, one of my favorite questions. Thank you. I am drinking Russell's Reserve Private Barrel. It's a special release just for Binny's Beverage Depot stores. And it's a small batch out of Warehouse F, floor 5. And what I find amazing about bourbon, just in general, is how the location of a barrel in the warehouse can change the entire flavor profile. So where regular Russell's Reserve, just the single barrel, or even the 10-year aged, have slightly less spicy profiles, this one, it's bold on the spice. It's really potent, but it's also got this really interesting sort of fruit back note to it, which I'm really enjoying.
Here's my review. It's kicking my ass right now.
Yeah, I think David, the producer, is going to be seeing Dead Relatives soon.
Yep, absolutely.
At least I hope so.
So Jenny asked if I've run across any squirrels lately.
Oh, dear.
No, luckily, thankfully, I should say unfortunately start that sentence with, because unfortunately it's getting colder and we're not seeing the squirrels around much.
Yeah, except for the one that we had in our bathtub.
Well, that's one I don't even want to talk about.
Yeah, if you want to hear that story, y'all, you got to check out not the current episode, but one episode back of the Unwritable Rant podcast. I talk about how David did war with a squirrel in the bathroom. So I see that Chris wanted to know the proof of the Russells. This is 110 proof. And I'm actually drinking mine neat, no water, no ice, nothing. So it's really smooth, really, really easy to drink. I'm loving it. And do I see Robin Slim? I do.
You do see Robin Slim.
I do.
And you also see Jerry from Bad Cop, Bad Cop.
Jerry! Oh, what is he saying? Perhaps it's the shitty batching by the master distiller. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, Jerry. What do you think you're saying?
We also have Not a Great Gamer.
Not a great gamer. Oh my God. We had sausage the other night. It was incredible.
Sausages. Every time we have stupid sausages here now in the house, we have to say it with an English accent, and then he always comes to mind.
Well, let's eliminate the we. Only one of us does this.
Okay, maybe it is just me.
Yes. Robin Slim want to know what's up, David, the producer.
What is up? Let's see. A show. That's
right, and we owe you voiceover tracks, Robin Slim. We do.
I already sent him a note earlier.
Oh, you did? Oh, good.
Yeah, letting him know it's coming tonight.
All right. Yeah, we'll get on that. Ginger, let's see. What are you? Oh, wait, hang on. Going back. Container Man, Blue Light Lady. Is it Kansas? Yes, a lady dressed in a blue gown floating across Old Highway 40. Wandering around looking for wounded soldiers to heal. Oh,
Old Fort Hayes.
I love stories like that. There's something so romantic about just this lingering soul who, wants to find their true love, or, I don't know, make a match in a different world.
I like the ones that just kill people.
Well, I like those too. But those are, I relate to those more. I have an affection for those.
I get it. I get it.
I see Toy Man just joined us. Hey, how are you tonight? Thanks for being here.
Ron has made it.
Ah, yay. Well, we are talking urban legends and folklore and ghost stories. And there's another place in Chicago that I wanted to talk about called Hull House. And it is apparently one of the most haunted buildings in Chicago. Now, it was erected in 1856 and it was a home. And a guy's wife died there. So it started as her just haunting this house. And through the years in Chicago, it kind of got pushed aside because it was in a really shitty neighborhood. And then ultimately, a convent came in and started opening it up to sort of like a social program. People without homes could stay there. And apparently, a couple blocks down the road, there was this couple. And the woman was devoutly Catholic, and her husband was an atheist. And she wanted to hang a photo or something of something religious on the wall. And he's like, I'd rather, be in cahoots with Satan. And he throws a photo on the ground. And I guess they had sex after that, because what else would you do, when having a religious conversation than, have sex?
What, to cleanse it? Or?
She wound up pregnant and gave birth to a devil baby. I mean, truly, like, horns, tail, hooves, all of it. And they deposited this thing on the doorstep of Hull House. And the nuns there took it in, tried to baptize it. And the rumor goes, it took off dancing across the lawn like a little devil baby is prone to doing. And they kept it locked in the attic for all of its life. And now apparently it's still there, haunting everybody.
Yes, and they turned that house oddly into a museum.
It is a museum, yeah. One of our haunted relics of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fascinating.
There's two types of tours you can take in the city, except for the architectural ones. You can take a gangster tour, and
Well, don't you have to be dead to do that? They throw you in the Chicago River.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of places that they show up at. They take you past, Al Capone's old house.
Right.
The Biograph Theater where Dillinger was shot,
yeah.
all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. I got to say, I'm not one for tours. I don't like doing ghost tours. I'm just not that kind of gal. I would rather do the research on my own and go and look stuff up, as just a regular person getting their own impressions of it. I don't need somebody to give me theirs.
Yep.
But that's just me.
Well, the second tour I was going to mention was the haunted tour. So all the locations
Oh,
that they
yeah,
believe
yeah,
to be
yeah.
haunted in Chicago, they have a bus that takes you to all these places.
Right.
Not for us.
No, definitely not.
No, I'd rather just go to haunted places and see what happens.
Exactly. Chris wants to know if deep dish pizza is a myth or real. It is the greatest invention ever, and it is truly real. I promise you that.
The funny thing is that Chicagoans rarely eat it. It's mostly for tourists.
It's kind of a special event sort of thing. I mean, especially if you live in the burbs, because there's like Gino's East everywhere, there's Giordano's, and they specialize in deep dish pizza.
Right. But for the most part, all the
Well,
ones
doing
that
like
you go
Pizzeria
to
Uno
downtown,
and Due,
it's just
it's
tourists.
very touristy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is still delicious. I mean, it's truly delightful pizza. You get this.
Yeah, no myth though.
You get this big thick layer of cheese, just a real thin, flaky, almost pie-like crust, and just a thin layer of sauce on the top.
You're starting to get overheated.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about cheese. I see we have some more ghost stories in here. Will is saying the Green Lady is a mother ghost in a local unmaintained hidden cemetery. They found the cemetery but didn't know what graves to look for. Found in the Strange Michigan book. Those are really good books. There's a whole series of the Strange city books. I've seen one for Chicago. I know there's like 7 for New Orleans. And I think I saw one for Tennessee also. Although we haven't really investigated any hauntings when we go to Tennessee. We're too busy getting drunk and honky-tonks.
Very true.
Oh, Steph, you're a sweetheart. Thank you for saying that. That's really sweet. Thank you. Ginger says she misses deep dish pizza. Haven't found a gluten-free. Oh, I don't think you're gonna, Ginger. I really don't.
Gluten-free, that might be a problem.
Oof.
But if you go to
Talk about evil.
Giordano's online or Lou Malnati's online, they both specialize in deep dish for Chicago. They will deliver internationally. So
When I lived in Los Angeles, I used to have them ship me pizza on dry ice because I missed it so much.
Yep, they will do that for you. Now, I don't know if they have any gluten-free options, though.
Don't know. I've never looked into it. I need more bourbon.
Yeah, grab yourself some. What'd you do?
Jerry's an ass.
What'd he say?
It's hidden right now. Only we can see it. I don't know if we can post that, Jerry. I really don't. You are such a dick.
Yeah. We're going to keep that hidden.
Yeah, we're keeping that hidden, you dick.
We love Jerry.
Although we love him anyway. Smooches. I noticed, I missed it somewhere. I forget who was talking about dreams. And I wanted to bring up the concept of shadow people. I still, personally speaking, I think this is kind of a bogus concept. And I can say this as somebody who has had night terrors since childhood. In fact, I just did a podcast episode sort of about that. And I had somebody reach out to me. Now, in the podcast, I talk about this recurring dream that I've been having and how it's connected to something that happened to me as a kid. And this person sent me this very concerned DM suggesting that I am besieged by demons. And I didn't respond because you don't poke crazy. But what I wanted to say is the only demon I'm besieged by is bourbon.
Yeah, that's not a demon.
No, not at all. But I don't understand why people are so alarmed by this. Why is shadow people a thing? It's just hallucinations.
Well, yeah, there's no proof of shadow people, of course, right? It's just like the other urban legend of Slender Man. Right?
Exactly. Well, Slender Man started as a creepypasta, and I think shadow people may have too. Do you not know what a creepypasta is?
I don't know what creepypasta is.
It's a series of fan fiction kind of stories that started on the web.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, and Green Bay says, how about the black-eyed kids?
There's another. That's like the modern Hookman, I think. Remember the Hookman stories with, the couple making out in the car and then the radio comes on and, local police are searching for an escaped mental patient with a hook for a hand. And, the girl's all freaked out and she's like, oh, come on, we got to go home. And he's like, no, baby, come on, just give me a little more. And she's like, well, all right, just a little. And, there's this weird scratching on the hood. And the story ends in several different ways. In the first version that I heard, the scratching that they heard on the hood, when they get out of the car, they see that the hook is hanging from a tree branch. In another story, I hear that the hook is, connected to their door handle. And I think the same sort of idea is behind the black-eyed kids or whatever, the big-eyed kids. I don't know what they are. It's just a modern...
Rob says black-eyed peas.
Is it black-eyed peas? It's just a modern twist on, the same urban legend, which is fascinating to me, the way that these things just regenerate themselves, decade after decade. Is the hook bloody? Yes, Jerry, the hook is bloody. It's covered in blood. He's been slicing people. That's what they do with hooks.
Do they?
That's what I'd do. If I had a hook for a hand, I'd run around murdering people everywhere. Murder is fun.
Robin Slim says, what about Mike the Can Man? I don't know what that is, Rob. You're going to have to tell the story.
You're going to have to let us know what that is. I don't know. Now, Green Bay says, we always heard the one. Ours was boyfriend goes to get something, was killed. Oh, and then the girlfriend here is scratching because it's him hanging above the car. Yes, I've also heard that one as well.
Yeah. That's a good version. I like that one best.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I saw Ginger was saying earlier that she had nightmares after hearing the podcast, and now she's talking about the Jersey Devil. Yes. Okay, so
That's a long-standing
the Jersey
legend.
Devil. Yeah, I'm not
familiar
entirely familiar with that. So if somebody wants to...
It's more regional, but I've heard it from people that I knew from Jersey.
Is that like the Chupacabra?
It's something like that.
I just like saying Chupacabra.
Well, that is a Mexican...
it is. It's like a little Mexican critter
animal,
that runs around. Yeah.
Demonic critter.
Right. Which is different.
It's actually a real animal, though.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen actual photographs of it. It's some sort of weird, thing.
Right.
I can do that again. Chris, the Housewives of Orange County, real or fake? Oh, that's so fake. They don't exist. They're not real people. They're animatronics.
Well, it's real. Their boobs are just fake.
No, they are fake. All of that is fake. That's not a real thing.
No, of course not.
Robin Slim of Jersey Devil footage. Tell me you didn't get it in your house. It's not like Sleepy Lucas or something, is it?
It's probably in Slim's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
he's,
they probably
he's harboring
have one.
it. Yeah.
I think Sleepy Lucas is a one of those
Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devils.
He
yes.
certainly could be. Oh, Robin Slim. What's wrong with you two?
And that's where the fun starts.
Oh,
right?
we have the most colorful people in here. Who's more dangerous, David the producer or a badger with a hook? Interesting question. Not a great gamer. I've seen David the producer with the lid of a toilet in his hands, about to smash it down on a squirrel in our bathroom.
And that was just a couple weeks ago.
And that was just a couple weeks ago. It was pretty terrifying. I had to stop him from doing it. I actually stopped him from murdering something. This never happens. Usually it's the other way around.
Right. You want to tell people how to subscribe?
Sure. Subscribe to what? This show?
Any other show. That's fine.
No, what my loving producer is reminding me to do is if you are having fun, if you are enjoying Bourbon Soaked Live, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And that way you'll be able to watch this every single Monday at 7 p.m. without me having to hound you about it, Jerry.
And you can also like and comment on the video. That would be awesome. And if you want to share it on social media, feel
Please
free
do.
to do so.
I See Ghost Mafia has just joined us, and we're like right in his wheelhouse tonight talking about shadow people and the Jersey Devil and ghosts and all sorts of creepy stuff. So if you have any urban legends that you want to share with us, Ghost, I'd love to hear them.
Oh, he has thousands of those stories. Are you kidding me?
Ginger, you know women are always dragged negatively in stories. You mean horror movies? I think, you know what, actually, I don't know if this is your point, but I want to call out a movie that we just watched on Shudder called The Furies. And it was this great, ultra grisly, just really violent horror movie where ultimately the women are the champions. It was really cool. They're dropped in this sort of playing field of sorts where they're being stalked. And these two badass chicks, they just go to town on these stalker, creepy, huge burly dudes. I mean, they're like cutting heads off and everything. It was awesome. I mean, a really good way to showcase, women in horror movies.
Right. And you have to be very clear to tell people what the movie is. It's The Furies. Not The Furries.
Yes.
Right?
No,
That's a
don't
whole
look up The
different kind of
Furries.
movie.
Totally different. Totally different. That was our mistake when we first looked for the movie. Found something way scarier.
It's a great movie, though.
Ginger says the Jersey Devil story, Astonishing Legends, did a great story on it.
Oh, and Ghost Mafia's gal is here, Lady Swan.
Oh, hey, Lady Swan. Thanks for joining us. We got the whole family in town tonight. I love it.
No doubt. And Not a Great Gamer says, I've got an urban legend about a sausage.
Of course you do.
Do tell.
I don't know if I want to hear that. I think we've talked about this before, but I wanted to talk about the ghost in the ballroom at the Bourbon Orleans Hotel in New Orleans. We weren't really ghost hunting. We just wandered down there. We were staying in the hotel and we wanted to just check it out. And we're in there and we were shooed out by this ghost hunter on a total power trip. I mean, just this really nasty woman who was just like, you don't belong here. And I go, yeah, well, I have a room key, so I can be here as much as I want. She's like, well, it's my job to do this. I go, no, you're not employed by the hotel, lady. Some of these amateur ghost hunters, I swear, are just so, they're like the librarian. You know, have you ever gone to a library and tried to check out a book and forgotten your library card and they just get all nasty? Am I the only person that's happened to?
I don't know. I've never run into a ghost hunter. The only ones I know are, that do YouTube channels like Blue Rock and Ghost.
I mean, they've all been
JoJo
super
and
cool,
those
but the ones I've run into in like real life, they're mean.
Well, we ran into a couple of ghost tours that were really not so nice out in New Orleans.
I don't know why that is.
I know, it's very odd. Well, I think they're very protective of
Their turf?
their turf.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they like
Plus,
to.
a lot of them get their facts wrong. I mean, anybody can, read Google and get a story. If you're going to do that, great, but just get it right. We were up on the balcony at Muriel's in the quarter, and a ghost tour was coming down below us, and we were overhearing what the leader was saying, and she was getting all the facts wrong about Muriel's. And I wanted to just yell out, "Lady, you must live here. Couldn't you at least get it right?" I feel like, I don't know.
Well, that same hotel, and actually, Green Bay just asked us a question of any real life creepy stories that happened to the two of you.
Well.
And it happened at the same hotel.
Yeah.
Well, it happened to you in the restroom, not me.
No, that happened to you in the restroom. You remember?
No, that was the restaurant. I'm talking about you in the hotel
I got
room.
locked in the restroom. I was using the facilities, and there was only one stall, and it just locked. I mean, it locked out of nowhere. I didn't touch it. It just locked. And I tried to open the door. I tried to unlock it, and I couldn't. It was truly like this weird moment in a movie where it doesn't feel real. And you're looking at this whole situation going, how is this happening to me? And I couldn't get the door open. I'm rattling it around, and I had to climb under the door, on the filthy, French Quarter bathroom floors, which was not pleasant. And the second I got out, I'm standing there, I'm looking at it, and it just unlatched like that. It was crazy.
And what about the bathroom in the hotel with the reflection?
Oh, in the Bourbon Orleans, yeah.
Yes.
That was way more subtle. We were staying in on a two-level suite, yeah, and on the second level, it's kind of in between floors. And we were in the original part of the hotel, which was built in the 1800s, and there were fires there. It's haunted, and there's a Confederate soldier that wanders around the hallways. And I swear, I was in the bathroom. I'm doing my hair, and it had this wallpaper behind me, just like green and flowers. And I just saw the air move behind me, like the flowers shifted behind me. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And you get that chill that goes through you. And I'm looking around, and it was gone. And every time I would stand there and do my hair, it would happen. And I was amazed because if it was a ghost and not me being a drunk, it was a very polite ghost. It was just in there when I was doing my hair, not when I was showering or anything. So, it didn't wind up like that movie, The Entity, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I had the experience in New Orleans, and I actually told this on Ghost Mafia's channel. It's either Ghost Mafia's or JoJo's, but they were both up on there. Anyway, I was never a believer in the paranormal at all.
No, you weren't.
Not in the least. I thought it was all, BS. I didn't want any part of it. Every story that I heard in New Orleans, I'm like, oh, God, not this again. So we're at a restaurant. It was pretty crowded, too.
Yeah, it was off Bourbon Street, wasn't it? On one of those side streets,
off.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 or 3 blocks off of Bourbon Street.
It was like on Toulouse or something, but I got it out of my mind.
So I asked the waiter where the restroom is. He says, well, this is an old building.
Yeah, it was past the carriage house.
You have to go up the stairs. It's past the old carriage houses. And then you'll see it on your left-hand side against, the right-hand side's a rail, left-hand side are all doors. It's like the third or fourth door down, whatever he said. I'm like, cool, okay, so I go upstairs, go into the bathroom, just start, taking care of business, and then all of a sudden the light goes out. I'm like, son of a bitch, the lights blew out. I'm like, what bad timing, you're right in the middle of going to the restroom. So, zip up, try to find my way over to the door. And the
then
light
you heard
was
footsteps.
Flipped off. Yeah, well, that was the second time.
Okay.
So the light was flipped off, and I actually flipped
You had to flip it back on.
And it was like a hard flip. It wasn't like one of those flimsy light switches that could, drop down. So I flipped it up, and the light's on. I go, oh, good. I can, go back to going to the restroom. I go to do that. Then I hear footsteps. but they were outside of the door. They weren't inside. So
Right.
they were like on right by the outside railing, and I heard those footsteps, and I'm watching because I could see in the mirror, I could see the door. So I'm like, uh-oh, something's going on. Like, who's out there? Now I'm a little freaked out. And then all of a sudden, the footsteps stop, and the light goes off again. And it was physically turned off because when I went back over there to flip it back on, no one came in the room,
Yeah.
but the light was flipped off. So I'm like, okay, I might believe a little bit in ghosts or somebody that had a long coat hanger or something.
Well, it was so funny the way you came back to the table after that, because we'd made a deal that if something paranormal had happened to you, you were going to tell me about it.
Oh, I told you I promised
And
I'd say something, yeah.
You came back to the table and you were just pale and a little shaky. And I said, "Are you feeling okay?" And you're like, "I don't know what just happened, but here's the deal." And I've never seen you quite that disturbed before.
Well, I'm disturbed in a lot of different ways,
But
but
not
yeah,
that kind of
not that kind of
disturbed.
disturbed. Exactly.
Hey, our New Orleans girl is here. Oh, we've just been talking all about New Orleans, lady. We've been talking about the ghost at Muriel's, and we've been talking about the Bourbon Orleans Hotel. And
you know Steph Opal's from
I know,
NOLA as well.
I know. We were just
Yeah.
talking about that. Yep.
Yeah.
Jerry says you're constantly disturbed.
This is true.
So my mother is actually a witch. She doesn't call herself a witch exactly, and she's not really all that practicing, but she's definitely pagan in those respects. And she's always believed that she was seeing dead people, so to speak. And I just told this great story on the podcast this past week, and it's such a crazy story because I don't know how much of it my mother she's also a good storyteller, but when she talks about this kind of stuff, she tells it so real, and you can tell from her voice that it's just something that really happened. And there was this crazy experience with me when I was like 5 years old in this house that my mom and dad had bought that was owned by two witches from the 1800s. And to this day, my mother is convinced that she summoned them on a Ouija board, and one of them was responsible for knocking me unconscious when I was a little kid.
Now, you were a toddler.
I was 5.
Yeah.
4 or 5. 4
That's
or 5.
toddler.
Yeah.
Still old enough to sell and get money for.
I don't know why they didn't. Well, no, actually, I do. I would have been useless. I would be terrible.
Isn't there another local? We did.
Oh, no,
Bachelor's
you know what
Grove
I wanted to
and-
bring up?
What's that?
Here's how corrupt Illinois is. So
Oh,
we
this-
have this
yeah.
cemetery not too far from us, actually, that was just in the news. Well, it wasn't just, it was a few years back, but they were reselling graves. So the cemetery was full. I mean, no room for any more.
No room at the end.
No room at the end. And they unburied people, disposed of the corpses, or what was left of the corpses at that point, in a ravine next to the cemetery, and then resold the plots.
Right.
Which is just such like smart business thinking, really. I mean,
It's called reuse.
they're dead. What do they care?
Who's gonna tell them?
Recycle, reuse.
They figured it out by some of the people that were going to visit graves.
Yeah, they're like, my great 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 grandma isn't here anymore. What happened?
Right. All the old ones, from the 1800s, where they're just counting on people not going back to visit.
Exactly. Yeah.
They were repurposing those.
I think it's hysterical to literally rob your own graves.
I think it's a cool story.
I think it's awesome. I mean,
think it's sick. But I think it's a
welcome
cool
to
story.
Illinois. Here's how corrupt we are.
Well, and the other tie-in, we were talking about the mafia earlier, and you were talking about Resurrection Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Al Capone is buried in
Oh,
Resurrection
yeah, that's right.
Cemetery.
I completely forgot about that.
Al Capone's buried there.
I've never
it's a
found
weird tie-in.
him. Yeah.
Oh, I have.
Have you?
Yeah. Well, they had to put him in a mausoleum because people were messing with his headstone.
Yeah.
So they had to put it inside so that they could lock it up at certain times.
Mausoleums are so creepy to me.
Yeah, I don't understand them. I just want to be cremated. I
Like
don't want anything like that.
in New Orleans, I love the above ground graves. Those don't creep me out, but mausoleums, for whatever reason, even though it's essentially the same concept, those creep me out. And maybe I've just seen Phantasm one too many times, but I don't know, something about a whole house of dead bodies like stacked on top of each other, floor to ceiling, that's just odd to me.
So it's the difference between, opening up a regular refrigerator or going into a walk-in fridge. What's the difference?
Walk-in fridges are scary.
All right.
All right, what have we got going on here in the chat? Jerry, so you're saying that your mother drinks. Yes, she does, Jerry. Of course she drinks.
Oh, she barely drinks.
A little bit.
Yeah,
She
no,
drinks
she's
very
like,
quietly.
yeah.
I mean, me, I'm sitting here knocking back, bourbon on camera, but my mother is the one who will go into the kitchen, during a holiday meal, pour a shot into her
Secret
drink.
sipper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a very closet drinker. It's actually cute, really. Container Man says Al Capone isn't dead. He went back home to his alien planet. Same planet that Elvis lives on.
Right. Well, there's so many urban legends about Al Capone alone here in Illinois because, this is where he was based out of. But
Sure.
he had multiple, like, hideouts. He had a big location in Elgin, which is the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He had places in Chicago. He had an actual home that was just recently sold, as a matter of
That's
fact.
right. That's right.
Somebody bought it for $47,000.
I don't understand the appeal. I mean, it's like going to Ernest Hemingway's birthplace, which is in Illinois as well. I don't care where he was born. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, I'm more fascinated by, the legacy of his six-toed cats that live over in Key West. But I like cats, so.
Oh, we have to show.
Oh my
Ginger
gosh.
shot.
So, all right, hashtag Bourbon Soaked Live, y'all. Drop what you're doing right now, except for this feed. Keep the feed on. And take a photo of yourself watching Bourbon Soaked Live. Post it on Twitter with the hashtag. And we will share it on the show next week. And right now, I want to share a photograph of our favorite, Ginger and Will, hanging out last week watching. Thanks so much for sharing your photo. You guys are awesome, and I love having you here every week. You guys are a blast.
Is that the whiskey sour, or is she drinking that last night?
No, she's drinking the whiskey sour right now.
Oh, I got it.
Yes, and no, not a great gamer, bourbon soaked sausage. Although actually, I've had blood sausage, and it's fantastic. I love blood sausage.
Isn't that a European thing to begin with?
I
think it is.
I had it in Mexico.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's a South American thing.
I think it's a South American thing because we had it when we went to that. Remember that Argentinian restaurant or something?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's extremely gross.
It's
I refuse
so good.
to. Oh,
it's delicious.
it's
love
eating blood
sausage. Yeah,
is what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm happy eating blood.
Yeah, I'll pass. I'm not a vampire.
Wow. Well, I'm not either. I just like blood. I see Wendell Live just joined us. Oh, hey, no problem. Late. That's all right. You're here now. We love it.
Exactly.
And we're kind of winding down on our urban legends talk right now and ghost stories. And I wanted to bring up, we were talking about the Jersey Devil, but I wanted to bring up my favorite urban legend creature, which would be the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie. I love that guy.
Is it a guy or is it a girl?
I believe that it is a guy. I believe that Nessie is a male monster that lives under the Loch Ness. I believe he hangs out in some of the channels down under there. And I think he's just an old dinosaur that's just here doing his thing. And he might have a family. And, they pop their heads out of the water every so often. I think they're cute.
I think that you're delusional. They never existed.
How do you know?
All the pictures that were ever taken.
I know
were from,
the majority of them have all been faked. I know.
They've been all,
I know. It's so ridiculous. And talking about, faked photos, can somebody please give me a real fucking photo of a UFO, finally?
Give me one of an alien that's real. I'll
Yeah,
take that.
it's so ridiculous in this day and age now where everybody has a phone, where you can catch every second of every moment of the day. I want I want to see a photo of an alien. I want to see a photo of the chupacabra, a ghost, something. Don't give me these ridiculous, what are they, EVP recordings? And again, I'm going to say it. I think that's total bullshit.
You think so?
I really do.
I don't
because
know.
there are so many other frequencies out there that you can pick up from. There's no way to isolate it and know that it's coming from the ether.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. But, forget all that. I want Bigfoot to come back. I want a real picture of Bigfoot.
Do you not think Bigfoot is real?
No, I don't.
I think he could be.
Uh, Anything's possible.
I think the likelihood of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster is far more strong than the likelihood of aliens.
Look, you have Irish Whiskey Paranormal in the chat right now. Combining both paranormal and
And
paranormal.
whiskey. Oh my God, you're like my new best friend. I am trying, but it's not that easy to take a picture of something that's normally invisible.
See? Well,
You
there's orbs.
Do make
They
a good
do.
point. And orbs.
Yeah.
Yes. That's an interesting thing. The concept and the imagery of an orb. What is it? I believe that it's just energy. I don't think it's a disembodied spirit.
But it's the energy of a soul, of a person? Is that
It's
what you're saying?
residual energy from possibly a
that.
person, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's what you think an orb is.
Well, I think it's either leftover energy from a person or from some sort of energetic event, whether it could be a rock concert, it could be war. I mean, I believe that energy kind of lingers, and that's a lot of times what certain paranormal activity is, attributed to. And I'm just talking out of my ass right now, but
Well, Jerry says take a picture of something that's invisible.
David the producer's sense of safety.
And that's a true statement right there. Cheers to you.
All right, I'll drink to that.
Oh yeah, I did see that the pilot that did record the one UFO was on Joe Rogan.
Yes.
I didn't see the interview
I didn't
yet.
see the interview, and I meant to. Yeah.
I definitely want to check it out.
Was it good? Did you watch it? I'd love to know more about it.
Was it good, Chris?
Because I think that's an interesting thing. UFOs, everybody likens them to something that comes from beyond our galaxy. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's something that either our government or someone else's is throwing out there. It's just an unidentified flying object. That doesn't mean that it is, otherworldly.
Not a Great Gamer says Loch Ness is more fake than Pamela Anderson's tits.
No, that's not true. She had them reduced. They're real now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You are correct. Boy, you got to be literal, don't you?
I'm a writer.
Well, and Bashful says that she is hunting Bigfoot because he will be her next future ex-husband.
Well, there's a fun idea.
Hey, if you're going to sleep with him, though, shave him down. That would be kind of not good.
Maybe she's into that. Some people are.
Yeah, and that's right. Some people like the big bear kind of guys.
They do. They like them fuzzy.
Yeah.
Or furry, depending on where you're going with that.
Furry's costume, that's cosplay.
Yeah, you see, that's a callback.
See?
You see how I did that?
Oh, boy.
Right.
You wanna talk
Blended
about your
whiskey.
yeah.
Hey, it's nice to see you here. Speaking of, I am drinking Russell's Reserve Private Selection. It's coming from their Warehouse F. It's 110 proof, and it is spectacular.
Yeah, it's rocking stuff. Hey, I'm going to pour myself another little.
Would you like a
while
little
you do
more,
it.
my love?
I would love some. If you could just pass that along over here.
All right, we're sharing bottles here. See?
Well, I didn't expect we'd get our own.
He's going to
How
drink.
much is this for the bottle, by the way? You should tell people.
About $55.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it totally is. For something that is that limited of a release, that has, 110 proof, that's that bold of a flavor, it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, that is reasonable. That's generally what the Russells cost for all their major brands, right?
No, the 10-year is 40-something, and the single barrel is a little bit more than that.
Okay, so it's right in the range of 40 to 55
It's like $10 more than the other ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not bad. All right, awesome. Container Man says, I believe in UFOs more than God. That's interesting.
That's an interesting way to
Yeah.
put it.
It doesn't have to be an either or,
No, it doesn't. Not at all. I see I'm being asked what my take is on Jim Beam's Double Oak. Personally, I'm not a fan. Even with their Double Oak and even with, they had another one that they'd released. I find Jim Beam too watery. And the flavor is just a little too weak for me. It's just not my flavor profile. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not something that I enjoy drinking. What I do like from the Jim Beam family is Booker's.
Yeah.
Booker's is outstanding.
And we tried the little Bookers too and enjoyed that as well.
Yes, the only Booker's release that I did not like was Kathleen's Batch. I
That's right.
found that just funky.
Right.
Was not my flavor.
It's not your flavor.
Jerry, which you can show his comment, he says Jim Beam tastes like fucking turpentine. And
Wow, that's a pretty strong response.
that's harsh. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that.
So I think Jerry drinks, if I recall, I think it's Maker's Mark is his kind of go-to bourbon.
Which is fine.
It's great. It's a great
Yeah.
go-to bourbon.
Yeah, although Jerry really isn't as seasoned of a drinker as we are, so. And when we went out to brunch with him, he ordered us to throw our paper straws on the floor, which I was okay with. And oh, he's drinking Woodford. All right. That's
Oh,
respectable.
yeah, that's his go-to. I apologize. I thought it was Maker's.
And Wes wants to know what kind of bourbon is good for 7 a.m. That's a tough question.
All bourbons for
Well,
7 a.m.
no, and I have a very specific answer for you, Wes. Are you drinking all night long and just picking back up at 7 a.m., or are you waking up at 7 a.m.?
Yeah, two different kinds of
Two
drinks.
different kinds of bourbon. Now, if you've been drinking all night, I would suggest Old Granddad 114 because that'll wake you up. And if you are just waking up in the morning, I would suggest easing into your day with a little bit of larceny. Larceny is good for early morning drinking.
Ah, and Green Bay likes Bookman. Have we ever had Bookman?
Hookman from Good Times.
I don't know if I've ever had that.
I think he's joking.
Oh, okay. Bookman isn't Good Times that TV show?
TV
And Bookman
show?
was
Yeah. The Dynamite.
no. Bookman, I think, was the janitor. I may be completely off on this. This bourbon might be taking effect right now.
I know,
I'm
we're
not
getting a
quite
little
sure.
loopy, y'all.
Right?
I don't know if we should cut it off or keep going for another hour.
Why don't you talk about your special?
Right. We're doing a Halloween special, y'all. The Monday before Halloween. I might even be in costume. You never know. I hope y'all will join me. We're going to be talking about, of course, Halloween. And I've got some great stories for you. Not ghost stories, just stories about stuff that have happened on Halloween. It's my truly favorite holiday of
It's
them
your
all.
Christmas.
It is. It's kind of my Christmas.
It's your stabby Christmas.
I like stabby Christmas.
Yep.
I mean, what other holiday is there where you can really celebrate, the dark side of yourself, or just, the colorful aspect of the world,
You even celebrate Day of the Dead, which is a
do.
a Mexican
I
holiday.
think that's a beautiful holiday, celebrating the people who've come before you in a way that honors them but isn't morbid, where you're not bemoaning the fact that they're dead but celebrating the fact that they were alive. I think it's a beautiful tradition. I really do.
They do it in New Orleans with parades.
I know. I love New Orleans for that very reason. Someday I imagine I'm going to die, and when I do, I want a fucking parade. Just saying.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Whew. What are you, Red Cedar Spirits is... Oh, that's the bourbon you're drinking, Ginger, right? You were telling me about that. It sounds really good. Container Man wants to know if I'm going to be wearing my devil costume. I have a different costume that I'm going to be wearing. I've already worn the devil horns, and I've worn the rest of it for David. So
that was what we call special secret time.
that's quiet time. It's secret time. New Orleans Girl says New Orleans has a parade for everything. Yes, they do. I love
As they
that.
should.
I love it so much.
Right? Well, we want to close out with next Monday?
All right, y'all. Next Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Come on back to the same place, and we will hang out. We'll drink some more bourbon. I'm not sure yet what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be spooky themed. So I hope y'all will join me. Again, that's Monday at 7 p.m. Set a reminder on the YouTubes. Subscribe, like, share, tell your friends. And we're going to make this a thing, y'all. We're getting there. Every Monday night, we're going to hang out and treat this like the greatest online bar there ever was.
And you guys are awesome for all coming. There are just tons of great people. Ginger,
Oh my gosh,
Jerry,
yeah.
Chris,
Ginger,
Container
Will,
Man,
yeah.
Robin
Slim, Jerry, Steph Opal, Green Bay, Chris. I can't thank y'all enough for being here. I'm really
Container
enjoying
Man, if we
hanging
didn't
out with
mention
you.
him, which we mentioned lots here tonight. And Wendell, of
Wendell
course.
live. He'll try to be on time. No worries, Wendell. We're just glad you're here. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled. I love this. So until next Monday, cheers.
Ways to